Welcome back to the Me and the Making podcast. I am your host, Melly Clay, and thank you for clicking that link. And I am just so excited to be here with you. I keep saying it. I think I've been saying this since this podcast premiered back in 2022, and I'm going to keep saying it. It's a dream come true. And this has just been such a fun time doing this for myself, but I really appreciate you all listening along and commenting and sharing with your friends. Please continue to do that. Rate the podcast 5 stars. One, two, three, four, five. The one all the way at the end, not at the beginning, but at the end. And yeah, just keep engaging, and I really really appreciate it. So this podcast, if you are new here, this podcast is about self-discovery. It's about learning about yourself, about the world around you. How can what you're learning impact the way that you're moving and behaving and growing as an individual within a community, all that good stuff. And sometimes I will have guests on the show. So this is season 3, but I have two more seasons, one and two, one, two, and three. So seasons 1 and 2 are wherever you get your podcasts. And it's in audio form. So this right now is in video and in audio. So if you're listening on audio and you enjoy watching on video, go over to my YouTube channel. It's Making Me Pod. And yeah, I'm over there where you can see me. And it's just, I hope you like it. But yeah, this show, in seasons 1 and 2, I pretty strictly have guests, and I talk to them about their life's journey, who they thought they were going to be when they were younger, who they are now, what's happened to them throughout their lives to get to where they are now. And we kind of discussed like what they've learned from that, how they've moved and grown since then, and where they want to go, like where they're becoming. So in this season, in season 3, I will have solo episodes like this episode, and sometimes I will have guests, and we'll continue that conversation about their self-discovery and what we can learn from what they've gone through, how we can adapt it into our lives, and continue that conversation with each other. So, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. And today's episode, I was not expecting to talk about this because it wasn't even something that a phenomenon that I didn't even realize existed. And I was just thinking this is simply human behavior. Like humans of any country, any race, any ethnicity did. But recently I was on social media, as most of us are, and someone was saying that there was an American spy in another country, and this person was found out that he was a spy and he wasn't that nationality. He was an American spy because someone caught him leaning on things. So the spy was maybe leaning on countertops, leaning on the wall, leaning, maybe a little bit of this, leaning with their fist under their chin, arm, hand under their elbow, just kind of like perched, if you will. And I don't know what the validity of that specific post was about, like if that person was talking about a specific event. I'm not sure if that is true, but then I was like, well, let me do a little research. I- Is this real like other other people in some other countries don't lean? Like y'all always stand on both 2 feet just straight up and down? That is a thing. So I always thought that people leaned because I'm an American and I've grown up in the United States and I lean. My mama leans, my daddy leans. Um, Actually, now that I think about it, Wait, I'm having an epiphany right now. Now that I think about it, I don't think my dad leans. Okay, I need to check in with my family because actually, I don't think my father is a leaner. And as far as I knew, he was born in this country. Let me not make a joke about that, but seriously, I don't think he leans. Actually, when was the last time I saw him leaning? I mean, of course, I think he shifts his weight, sometimes from like one leg to the other leg as maybe he's standing for a while, but no, I don't think I've seen him lean. Okay, but this is not about him. This is about most people who I have in my life are leaners. And I was like, oh, other countries don't do this. And I've traveled internationally and I haven't noticed if people lean or not. That's not necessarily something that I'm picking up on, but I'm also not an international spy. So I'm not always on guard of are these people who they really say they are. Um, but yeah, I was like, oh, I'm a leaner. And I think it's something that I have to own. So a couple years ago, I did notice that I would shift my weight a lot. And I kind of felt sorry if you hear that siren in the background. This is an audio uh, form of media. So you might have heard that. But I live in the city. So anyway, um, a few years ago, I noticed that I would lean on, I would shift my weight a lot on my legs. And at some point, I was just like, let me see how it would feel to simply stand, maybe not simply, but to stand on both of my feet, like weight evenly distributed for a decent amount of time. Like when I'm standing in line, when I am, if I have to stand on the train, I'm gonna see how it is to just stand on both of my feet evenly. And I do admit it is a little bit uncomfortable. So, but after a while, the more I kept doing it, the more comfortable I felt. And I actually felt like I was getting stronger in my legs because I wasn't shifting my weight as much. But to hear that other, so I did some research, as I said, research. We just love talking about research. I did some research and I was looking on Reddit and where else was I looking? Not really TikTok, but Reddit was giving me some nice little links to articles, and apparently the CIA trains against leaning for their the people who work in their agency. So they quote unquote de-Americanize people going through their program so that when they're sent out across the world, people aren't seeing that these people are Americans if they are saying that they are of another nationality. So apparently, that person, if the story is true at the beginning of this podcast, apparently that person failed, or maybe that person was a spy before they started specifically training in the CIA to not be leaning. But I was like, oh, wow. Imagine your entire cover being blown because you started to lean on something because you were a little bit tired. And they saw that, if one plus one equals two, and if two plus two equals four, then what is this? Like, who are you? That's what they said to this person. So that is something that I have been learning recently. And this was not the original subject of this podcast episode, but I felt like, let me see if other people have been are aware of this, where we be leaning. Americans be leaning. And I guess in some other countries, people might squat instead of leaning if if their body needs a rest, or maybe they will, I think everyone kind of shifts their weight when they're standing, but leaning on things, like if you lean on a wall or a pillar or the counter, that might be more of a American slash Western type of being. And it's just so funny to me. I just got a kick out of it. So I hope you all got a kick out of that. And do look up online. Like, are you a leaner? Um, like take some personal assessment of yourself. Are you a leaner? And I don't think there's anything wrong with leaning. I mean, sometimes you need to just be casual, lean back, as Fat Joe said. I mean, that is a very American song. I'm really connecting the dots in this episode right now. Like, please, I am the brain is firing. The synapses are firing, okay? Um, and I just hit my finger. Ouch, that hurt. But yeah, we be leaning and that it's interesting. So if you are not American or if you're not from the western part of the world, how do you pass the time when you're standing? Like, does your body get tired sometimes if you're standing for too long? How do you cope, basically? Because me, myself, and I lean. Like, I think about how many times I've leaned on my kitchen counter, and the number is obscene. Okay. So that is what I have been learning recently and actually Googling and doing some Reddit lookups and clicking on links to some reliable sources of what it is, I guess, to be culturally American. So anyway, that's a little tidbit for y'all. Please let me know if y'all too be leaning because I'm very, very curious. Um, and now I like to move into a little segment I call Pod Corner. So, if you are listening to this episode, you either have a love for podcasts or maybe you're a friend who is supporting me and you don't really care for podcasts that much. Um, or you're simply a casual listener of podcasts and you don't really like it's not necessarily something that's on the top of mind that you really like. Um, but I love podcasts and I listen to podcasts all the time. I listen to podcasts more than I listen to music. Like on my commute into work, I'm listening to podcasts. I go home, I listen to podcasts. Typically during the workday, I'm listening to podcasts. I'll split it up between podcasts and music. Um, but yeah, I'm a podcast girly. That's how I was inspired to even create my own. And I like to suggest a podcast every episode because I feel like I have enough to keep suggesting. Like this might not always be a segment because I might eventually run out since I'm releasing these episodes weekly, but by the time I get to the end, I might just start over. Like if there are new listeners to hear a podcast that I've already recommended because I really still enjoy that podcast. So the podcast that I'm recommending today is called I know I recently recommended Petty Crimes, and that one is very much a gem of a podcast. And so please follow them on YouTube, get them wherever you get your podcasts. But today I'm going to recommend something that's kind of sort of a teeny bit in the same vein when it comes to quote unquote detectiveness. That's not a word, but when it comes to being a detective, but not cop, not a cop. Okay. I don't listen to true crime like that. And we're not glorifying cops around here. But it's a podcast called The Dating Detectives. And this is a podcast where people will call it, well, they won't call in, but the host will set up um an episode where someone will come on there and basically tell them about experiences that have happened to them with someone who they've been dating, romantically involved with, and that person turns out to maybe be a liar, misrepresent themselves. They call those people dogfish instead of catfish, someone lying about how what they look like. A dogfish is someone lying about who they are, what their intentions are, etc. So that's I think a term that they coined on that show on the dating detectives. And yeah, people are on there lying and really, running some of these people just through it, regardless of gender. They've had a lot of women on there who are telling their stories, but they've also had men on there who are telling their stories. And it's pretty much all inclusive. Like there's not one gender or one sexual orientation that can be terrible. So basically, what I really like about the show is that when they are talking, they're really giving a lot of tools that you can kind of inspect your own life and your own relationships. Like, is is this happening to me? Is someone doing this to me? Like, is you just can gain a little bit more awareness. So I enjoy the dating detectives, and I am recommending that to you all right now. And yeah, this has been a really fun episode. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Some of them will be silly like this one, some of them will be a little bit more serious, but it runs the gamut because we are multi-dimensional people, you know? So yes, this has been another episode of the Me in the Making podcast. I am your host, Melly Clay, and thank you so much. Please binge listen to seasons 1 and 2. Um, Follow me on YouTube to get the videos, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye. This has been another episode of the Me in the Making podcast. Please rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Tell a friend, tell a family member. We all deserve to grow and change and become our best selves, whatever that might look like to you. And please connect on Instagram at Making Me Pod, on TikTok. You can email me at meli@makingmepod.com. I would love to hear from you. Let me know if you want to be a guest on the show. And yeah, I'm just having such a great time. I'm so happy to have been able to launch this video episode for you all, and come again. Bye.